It was a bright Sunday morning in the busy town of Cairo. The sun was shining, the market was full of life. Women carried big baskets on their heads, moving from one stall to another, arguing over prices. The smell of fresh tomato, roasted corn, and dried fish filled the air. Among the crowd was Amina, a young woman known for her good behavior. Mothers often pointed at her and told their daughters, "Be like Amina. She is a true daughter of Zion." She always dressed modestly, never missed her prayers, and stayed away from bad places. That day, Amina went to the market to buy foodstuff. As she passed by a narrow path where second-hand clothes were sold, something caught her eyes. It was a red dress hanging among other Okirika, second-hand clothes. The dress was beautiful, smooth and shiny, with small sparkling beads. It looked like something a queen would wear. "Ah, fine girl, this dress is from London, no? Original quality." The seller, a bearded man with a deep scar on his cheek, called out to her. Amina hesitated. She had never bought second-hand clothes before. It felt strange, but the dress was too beautiful to ignore. The price was so cheap. Without thinking much, she paid the man and quickly put the dress in her bag. That night, after praying, Amina took out the dress and held it under the dim light of her lantern. The material felt too smooth, almost like it was new. Shrugging off the odd feelings, she wore it and lay on her bed. Soon, she drifted into sleep. That was the night everything changed. Amina found herself in a dark, foggy street. Strange music played in the background, deep beats that made her heart race. She stood in front of a club with flashing red lights that read "The Red Room." The door was swung open and a woman stepped out. She was tall, white, and wearing a long red gown, the same dress Amina had bought. Her lips were painted bright red, and her golden hair was wild and coily. The woman smiled, showing sharp white teeth. "You like it, huh? Don't you?" she whispered. Before Amina could speak, the woman laughed, a loud, wicked laugh that echoed in the dark. "It is yours now," she said, stepping closer, "and I am yours too." Amina woke up with a scream, sweating all over. Her hands trembled as she touched the dress she was still wearing. Her heart pounded. "It's just a dream," she told herself, breathing fast. "Just a dream." But it wasn't. The next week, people began to notice something different about Amina. The girl who once wore long skirts now started wearing tight clothes. The girl who never used makeup now painted her lips bright red. The girl who never went out at night was now seen in dark corners, laughing with strangers. Her friends became worried. "Amina, are you okay?" One of them asked. "You are different." Amina only smiled, but her smile was strange. "I've just been enlightened," she said, winking. At night, she found herself going to places she never imagined. Clubs, parties, places where loud music played and people danced wildly. Yet, deep inside her, her real self was screaming. Each time she tried to stop, she would see the woman in her dreams, laughing. "You are mine now," the voice whispered. "Wear the dress and you will feel free." Amina wanted to stop. She wanted to pray. But each time she took off the dress, a terrible force made her wear it again. One night, after leaving a party, she stood in front of her mirror. She gasped. The reflection looking back at her was not hers. It was the white woman's face. And the voice whispered from inside the mirror, "You can't fight me, Amina. I live in you now." Terrified, Amina ran to her imam, crying. She told him everything, the dress, the dream, and the strange voice. The imam's face became serious. "This is not ordinary Okirika," he said. "This dress carries the spirit of its former owner. Whoever wears it becomes like her." Tears ran down Amina's face. "What do I do now, Imam?" "You must burn it," the Malan said, "and you must pray. This battle is not with flesh and blood." Amina nodded. She ran home, determined to destroy the dress, but the moment she tried to pull it off, an unseen force threw her to the ground. The mirror shattered. The air became ice cold. Then came the laughter, louder than before. "You think you can get rid of me?" Amina screamed as the darkness closed around her. Amina struggled on the ground as something heavy pressed her down. The room shook, the broken mirror pieces rattling. Cold arms wrapped around her throat, squeezing her. "You are mine now, Amina," the voice whispered. The air smelled of cheap perfume and cigarette smoke. With her last breath, Amina gasped, "La ilah, save me." The moment she said that name, a bright light filled the room. The heavy force on her body lifted for a moment. Amina crawled towards a candle she had lit earlier. With shaky fingers, she grabbed the cursed dress and threw it into the fire. The moment the flame touched it, a loud, terrible scream filled the room. The dress twisted as if something alive was inside. Black smoke rose from it, forming the woman's angry face. "No, you can't do this to me." Amina covered her ears and kept praying, calling the name of God again and again. The fire burned hotter, turning blue. Then suddenly the dress was gone. Nothing but ashes remained. Amina collapsed, crying in relief. The battle was over. The next morning, Amina woke up feeling lighter, like a heavy load had been lifted from her heart. She looked in the mirror. This time, it was her real face staring back. She fell on her knees, thanking God for saving her. The next morning, she went to the village square and shared her story. The whole village was shocked. Some people cried, some prayed, but everyone praised God for saving her. From that day on, Amina became a living testimony. She warned others about the dangers of spiritual contamination, and she never bought Okirika clothes again. But somewhere, in another market, in another town, another cursed item lay waiting for its next victim. Comment below. Do you believe objects can carry spirits? What lesson do you learn from Amina's story? Like if you enjoyed the story. Share this with a friend who needs to hear this warning. Subscribe for more shocking and suspenseful African stories like this. See you in my next story. Bye-bye.